fucking go!
You sound like somebody on
There's a song that starts like that. Let's fucking go!
No, you saw somebody on a FM a Monday morning show.
Yeah.
It's time for this morning show. I'm doing this morning show.
Yeah, so we are back. We are back. We're back in the house. Get us in the mind. Episode 36. Got the ologist. I got the
Hey.
abstract is in the house. I don't know if you can see him on here, but he's there.
I changed myself to a large ass caressing a skeleton. The surgery was a success. It went very well.
I thought you were.
Nah, I'm the Castle of Grayskull's got bitches. What can I tell you?
So tonight is January, what is today? Today is 17th? Yeah. Yep. January 17th, 2022. This is Father's Day weekend and the official, I guess, holiday weekend of Juneteenth. And a couple of things that, I want to talk about. I know you guys want to get your discussions on it. Since this is Juneteenth, and I want to talk about Juneteenth and Father's Day. But first, since we always do politics, let's talk about January 6th, the latest news in regards to it. Did you hear that they wanted to have that Ginny Thomas, Terrence Thompson's wife, wanted to be? She is volunteering to be part of it, to be part of the interviewed with them. She's chomping at the bit. I know.
Oh, that's gonna be fucking fun.
I know. I want to hear what she's got to say. I mean, but
what can she say?
Here, we're talking by text, and Les was saying that he was, what are you doing this for? What's all this for? And I'm like, this is what it's for. So you can discover all the inside knowledge that you hear. Because I was listening to this box, he was saying that one of the things that they revealed in this whole January 6th thing with Trump is when he was trying to get Mike Pence to stop the election. He was saying, "Come on, Mike Pence, you need to do this. You need to not ratify this election." And he basically said, "Don't be a pussy." I mean, he just insulted him just to no end. I mean, it was shocking hearing how he was just insulting him. It's just crazy, and it's just hearing stuff like that, hearing about Ginny Thomas and how she's texting, and how she's another group. Apparently, she's part of a group. I forgot the name of it, but some group that she's part of. It's
she's what's the word for it? They raise funds.
Yeah,
evil,
it's some group that
I'm just trying to think what's the word for it. She's a funder.
Yeah. But she's
a lobbyist. That's the problem.
But it was some group that she's connected with. But the thing that's interesting about it is seeing how the reason why, and again, a couple friends of mine were asking, what are they doing this for? No one's going to get convicted. I think there are a few reasons. Yes, this is grandstanding. I'm sure that the Democrats on this committee are trying to grandstand and kind of make it seem more than it is, or more grand than it is. But it also lets you see what was really going on behind the scenes. Again, the whole thing with Trump, the fact that he basically served up his vice president to be almost killed. They were going to It was thought they were going to kill Mike Pence.
They were.
Could you imagine if they had found him?
We still have deniers, right?
Oh, I know.
That there's a reason why I keep making it a point to have some arguments when it's pretty obvious it's a waste of time. I'm just like, because I don't know what else to do. And it's fucked up because on some level I'm aware of this, that like there is no straw that's going to break the camel's back. There are people, I've said this enough times because I can't think of anything else to say, like there are people who would rather die than change. And in some very extreme cases, they'd rather kill you than change. They don't give a fuck what the consequences are. Yeah, they have to be right. The world has to make sense according to them. We still have to do the January 6th thing, but it's like, it's not going to sway anyone that should be swayed.
Yeah, and I don't expect it to be. I mean, in my opinion, I don't personally think it's going to sway anybody. But I think a couple of things. I think if this further anything that's used to really show Donald Trump's colors, I'm all for it. You know, this guy was president, and I think this should be a stain on his legacy. I think that's the bigger thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, we were texting with DJ. He was saying that, you know, it was only 2 hours and all this and blah blah blah. That it was he's downplaying whatever. You know, it's like, okay, what about Watergate? Watergate was just a break-in, and we should just arrest the guys who did the break-in and be done with that. No, you need to see who was behind it, who are the people who were pulling the levers to make this happen. And it's the same thing with this. Who are the people who are behind? You know, of course, the people who are part of this, and they're going to get arrested, and they're going to be prosecuted, and they'll probably, you know, deal with the consequences of it. But what about the people who are pulling the strings? You know, what
Are
about
the people that got lied to, believed it, and died because of it, or had their lives ruined? I'm like, how do you care so little about the people that are willing to support you?
Yeah. So it gets, you know, I'm not watching it end to end, but it's just interesting in hearing what, you know, what you're finding out. You know, it's like with 9/11, you know, when, you know, or anything, you see the event, and the event itself has its own spectacle, like the towers falling and all that. But in the aftermath, when you see all the different points of view that happen, like people from miles away, people from down the street, people from, you know, every other aspect of it really gives you a greater picture of it. You know, not just this one snapshot that we have of these idiots, you know, rushing the Capitol stairs. You see every aspect, you know. So I think you need. I'm all for that. You know, I don't know what it's gonna solve, but hey, whatever. What say you, Alex? You have any opinions, any insights?
I think yeah, it did give a better overview, and you kind of understood the scale of what was happening by the different angles and the timeline. Like that was extremely extremely interesting. I just want to see how it proceeds, and I'm chomping at the bit to see the end result. I mean, I think I know what the end result is going to be of all of this, that nothing much is going to come of it, which is kind of scary.
I don't have huge expectations for
no, me either. But
it kind of reminds me of the shit with the gun debate right now. I've been putting it to my friends like this, like there isn't a
groundwork for it happening again, and that's just my only concern. That it doesn't seem like because of politics, they're not taking the events that happen seriously.
Why would they? They didn't die.
Yeah, you got a point there. You got a point there.
The functioning of the government.
I fundamentally don't work this way. I often struggle to comprehend how other people do this, but I understand there are many Americans that have this very narrow worldview on events. They only give a fuck about things in their immediate purview. If it doesn't immediately affect them, they couldn't give a crap less about it. And they're definitely not considering the long-term ramifications of it.
No, but I don't know. I think I've said this before. The United States is we became a world power in such a quick period of time from the founding of this country to present day. And it, like, just think of the world as a house, or a family living in a house. It's like the teenager is calling all the shots and ruling the roost. I can't think of any like European or other first world countries where if a group of people got this close to doing what they attempted to do, that their response would be so lackadaisical about somebody possibly changing the results or the way that their government functions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see other places like playing politics like this and just having
it's that downside of this really individualist American side of our spirit. There's this idea of you can't tell me what to do. I'm the best at this extra high self-esteem with a lack of actual
I
understanding.
think that got people there, but what I'm saying is the folks that run the government, like no government wants to be overturned. I mean, even dictators. If somebody had got this close to anybody associated with them, they would kill them and their family.
Oh yeah, it'd be like public
In
hangings.
civilized places,
Public hangings.
there would be investigations and people would be locked up for the rest of their natural lives for the most part. They wouldn't tolerate it.
Yeah.
Of course not. But this is the thing. We're not fact-based. We're narrative-based. What's the story? What's the narrative? And why is that narrative so delicious or palatable to so many?
No, we're
That's
teenagers.
the actual
Teenagers think
problem.
they're invincible, and we think that our government is invincible. And when somebody got this close to doing what happened, whatever didn't happen.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts on it. It's interesting to see what happens. I'm kind of curious to see what's going on with that. In other worldly news, man, inflation is skyrocketing, man. Interest rates are going sky high. We're headed towards a recession, man. These are really, really trying times, man. It's. I every time I go to the gas station, I go there and I got like it's like a horror show. It's like how much less gas am I gonna put in my car? Gas so expensive, man. It's like it's rough out there, man, economically, man.
Yeah,
it's like we're headed towards a recession. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. So
I still feel the reason I haven't been freaking out over this. I just kind of feel like, given enough time of us just going about our jobs and still just working and shit, isn't this problem just going to fix itself?
Well, I mean,
I mean, I don't have
think
a
of it like
perfect
this.
response to it.
Think of it like this. If it hits, if inflation happens, gas prices go up, and the supply chain, everything's going up, right? And it hits you a little harder, you tighten the belt. Imagine if you have less, how much it hits you. You know what I mean? And then the people who have nothing or near nothing, how hard it's gonna hit them. So it kind of is that trickle down, theory in a sense, almost that, like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, I have less money to spend, so I'm gonna spend less money. So the place where I go to spend my money at is gonna get less money from me. They're gonna have less money. So it's a trickle down system. So we're gonna have a lot of things that sort of play off that. I don't know. I wonder how long this is gonna be, because you think about it, we're just getting out of a pandemic. Where do we go from here? We're in a proxy war with Russia, in a sense.
Well,
and Russia started realizing that the only way they ever stand a chance of winning this shit is by going really slow. That's not going to be over anytime soon.
Yep. They're hoping for the world to forget about Ukraine. They're hoping that, years down the road, we're kind of just, all of our, all the flags you put up and all the sort of demonstrative waving.
It may happen because the economy, we can't keep sending money over there, and
how much money were we spending on Afghanistan that we are now consequently not spending on Afghanistan?
No, that's different. No,
Afghanistan was our war.
No, I'm saying I think we can keep sending them money and
no, that's not. No. Just listen. That's different, and this is the reason, because like Todd said, that was our war. Those were our soldiers, our equipment. When stuff get destroyed or it needs to be replaced, there's the military industrial complex that actually might have been profitable for certain aspects of our nation and our economy. Whereas this is just writing a check and handing it over to somebody else, which is different.
Yeah.
How long can we do that?
Ukraine winning in the long run, Jenna, help us with our allies. I'm sorry,
what's that gonna do? Like some people say we're close to a recession and that could trickle down into a depression. how do we get out of the last depression? They pay people to basically do menial jobs, dig a ditch, fill a ditch, this, that, and the other. We have a service-based economy. We don't have a manufacturing thing. What kind of incentives can they do to put hands in the masses? I mean, money in the hands of the masses to help us get out of this situation, except for doing the thing that's probably leading us deeper into the recession with all of the free money, which is driving inflation up. Like people, it's complicated.
Yeah, the economy should thoroughly confuses me.
Yeah,
it's complex.
No, I mean, you gotta start making stuff here. And then when I say making stuff, I'm not talking about like big ticket items like cars, this, that, and the other, but you got to start making basic stuff and paying folks, I'm not saying an extravagant wage, but a livable wage.
No, we have to stop the conversation now. It finally happened. Trinity. There is peace between the three great powers. Sorry for those watching at home who do not know this. Before the cast started, Doctor himself, the streets librarian, admitted that he might be a Marxist, and he made the same point. I also thoroughly believe that a large percentage of American problems could be fixed. I'm making a small reversal. I don't believe in handing out the money. David's going through a lot of Marxist. That's the larger point that if people made more money, it would naturally fix all the problems.
I think
I said people had
I'm flirting with Marxist theory. I'm not really.
I said a living wage.
That's still I'm all
flirting with Marxist theory?
Wanting people to get paid more. It's okay. That's fine, Streets. I'm just saying, it's nice that we are all in unison. Oh God, you can hear the chorus of just.
No, I think that
commune with the divine. All souls are linked. The Triforce. Oh God, my third eye is so open right now.
Stop playing Zelda. You're too old for that.
I'm not. I just beat Breath of the Wild, actually.
So this weekend is, as I mentioned, it's Juneteenth, and this is kind of our first official celebration of Juneteenth. Second, because
it's our second.
Last year, second. Okay. And there's a couple things. Did you hear about the Walmart thing with the
I also wanted to try the ice cream. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm like, it and I said this before. I don't know if I mentioned it on here that I understand the things about Juneteenth. I was actually listening to podcasts talking about how it started and sort of history of it and with what you call it. And apparently, part of the reason why Texas took so long to free the slaves is that Texas for a long time, you think of Texas as sort of being the sort of not cowboy town, but apparently they had a lot of plantations. That was the reason why they were stubborn. And that was the reason, that's part of the reason why.
Sounds like Texas.
Texas being a republic didn't want to necessarily, they felt they had lost the war to the north and they were a republic. They had their own thing. It's kind of like Texas. Texas has their own grid, their own thing. So that's part of the reason why. But
Texas was a sovereign country before they joined.
They felt themselves right. And I don't think Juneteenth should be a holiday. Maybe it was on a Black Film.
Wow. Oh, what?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, who was arguing against me a few years ago? Oh,
I don't think I ever argued.
That's a strength. No, you cannot chastise them for being able
go
to
back and read this.
That's a strength. No.
Hear me out. Here's my reasoning. That it seems as though the United States does everything in their power, or the government, the United States government does everything in its power to do everything except give Black Americans reparation that they need. I would, if you give me 40 acres and a mule, not a day off. What does that mean? What does that mean from not working? Oh, you have a day off. Oh, I'm not working. I'm always have a day off. And it's like, and it sort of coalesces with this whole thing with Walmart selling you Juneteenth ice cream and shirts and all this. It's like it's another way to make money. It's just performative.
It's not always a bad thing, but it's okay to say that it could be better.
again, I just think this was performative. It's kind of like the whole thing with Black Lives Matter Plaza, in the NBA putting Black Lives Matter on their floor and all this other stuff with the NFL and the sports leagues.
All right.
What changes? What changed in the league? Are there any institutional problems? Look at the NFL.
Okay.
They were trying to they were doing all this crap about Colin Kaepernick kneeling, right? So George Floyd happens, everybody kneels, because Black Lives Matter. Then what happens? You find out that they have fewer Black coaches than ever, and they're basically using it as a way to keep a lot of Black coaches out and keep them underemployed.
All right, can I be devil's advocate, guys?
Wait, hold on a second. I want to respond to something about the Walmart thing on Juneteenth. I just did a quick search on the web. Looking for Walmart Juneteenth sale, and the only thing that came up was about the products that they were selling. Like for the 4th of July, there's a sale on products. They lower the prices. For Memorial Day, there's a sale. For the Black Day, you can just buy stuff. We ain't giving you no discounts.
you gotta spend full price for those Juneteenth t-shirts.
Yeah.
Hell with that. Yeah,
go ahead, Aaron.
Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
I'll touch on other points later. I wanted to play devil's advocate on this a little bit. As you guys know, I wasn't always a Black Lives Matter supporter until I started realizing that, that a little bit of extra attention, that might be the push we actually need. It's not nothing. The fact that, in the same way I was saying even before cast, that my boss had allocated 2 work days for us to get what is effectively diversity training. We learned about Amistad, and we have a full day off on Wednesday to walk around to do more stuff with Amistad. That's a good thing. That's like the fact that it's a company headed up by someone who's white or whatever, with a lot of white people in higher management, dedicating this much time to learn about these things. That's not nothing. The fact that every neighborhood I walk by where I live is filled with Black Lives Matter signs, i.e., they're sympathetic to the shit that they see on the news. That's not nothing. Or to the other extreme. I know this is probably going to come up as a complaint later, but all the flags for Pride Month, i.e., this idea of homosexuality becoming a mainstream thing, not negatively stigmatized. I know it gets constantly derided, like, oh, this is a corporation just selling out, but that's also a form of acceptance. You don't have to hide it. It's celebrated. It's okay to say it can be better. That's fine.
And so to sort of piggyback, or not piggyback, but sort of respond to what you're saying is there's a time and place for demonstrative shows. You know what I mean? But
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
There's a time and place for demonstrative shows. So like having the pride flag and saying Black Lives Matter, those things have the time and place. But I don't think it moves the discussion forward or moves progress for the issues that these groups face. If I just
motherfucker, nah, son. What do you call Disney getting into that spat with fucking Ron DeSantis over?
Look at it this way. What it can mean is that institutions like corporations and all that stuff have figured out a way to monetize that community, but still do things to limit them and keep a place.
What you call what's going on with Disney and Ron DeSantis then? If Disney was just freaking playing lip service, all they would have to do is we respect everyone's opinions, but we're not going to do anything. No, they're fighting this. And now, of course, they're getting kicked out of Florida. But that was them making a move showing no, we're not going to change. We're with the pride flags. All right, so here's what happened.
And no problem with that. Hey, more power to them.
That does not happen without that first step of them hey, look, we're a supporter and we stand with you. And look at all of our Mickey Mouse has a rainbow flags. Hey, we're getting discriminated in the state you guys work in. You going to say something? I don't know. I mean,
so how does that with you? So how does that translate to Juneteenth?
I'm saying step one, yeah, they're playing lip service. Step 2 is, hey, here's a popular issue we're dealing with right now. All right, to take it to the other extreme. I'm trying to find a way to get back to Juneteenth. The thing you mentioned about the coaches, we have the NFL saying they're a supporter, they're an ally, all this shit with Black Lives Matter. We're so sorry about Colin Kaepernick. A, is Colin Kaepernick still blacklisted? B, are they actually doing right for more of their black athletes? Black coaches, thank you. I get more upset about the athlete situation, but still, what are they actually doing to address the lack of diversity there? Because now we're like, hey, you're saying you care, gonna actually prove it?
Well, the NFL
and you haven't even got for the NFL, you even haven't got to black ownership.
Right. The NFL doesn't have a problem with black players. There are plenty of black players in the NFL. It's mostly black. It's with the coaches.
Step 1 is awareness.
But here's the thing. When do you ever see them get to step 2?
Right now.
You know,
that's the point
when
we're
do you
at
ever
right
see them
now.
get to step 2?
That's
my point of view.
Disney just did that, and it could cost them billions of dollars, or Florida billions of dollars. I think Disney got to step 2. They took a stance and they did not back down, even when it would have been probably more economically viable for them to do so. Right now, we're watching that with the NFL. Let's see what happens. This is why I'm not discounting. I'm with your criticism, not distinguish, not saying they're not good, but the fact that they're playing all this lip service, now's the time to ask, because they're saying they support.
You gotta realize
they back. Let's find out.
Disney is a business, so they probably done the cost benefit analysis of, let's see, this group versus that group. We piss off conservative people, and we know the conservative base is probably the masses of the bases, might have less income than the more educated liberal elites who will take trips to Disney, wants their kids to feel comfortable, will spend more money, and it's just a cost benefit analysis, because that's what,
you know, what would have been a better cost saving analysis? Staying neutral.
No,
they didn't stay neutral.
They
put up the flag,
you can't
which is not neutral.
Hold on a second. You can't stay neutral in a state with a governor who is trying to more Trump. So he's going to find a big target and he's going to go after it. That anybody that has an issue that goes against his base, to show that he's fighting the good fight, that he can out Trump. So
again, though, that's still, I know Ron DeSantis is like that.
Oh, Disney
had to do to avoid their ire, knowing they were like that, was stay neutral. They didn't.
No, Disney can wait them out. I just heard something about
Disney makes so much money from Florida. They can move a different state.
No. But I mean, and I'm not
saying bankrupt.
And
I feel like you're just not giving Disney enough credit on this one.
Aaron, can you give me give me a chance? I can't remember the 3 incidents, but I heard there's a lot of backlash with Obi-Wan, with the black lady that played third sister. Well, Disney didn't stand up for Boyega when he came out with his criticism, and it was another situation where I don't know if what's his name that played Heimdall? Oh my God.
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba,
with the backlash of how they stood up for him, but it was like 3. They said that the lady who played third sister, like Disney came out with a very supportive statement, but I guess the third time's the charm, because they really didn't do much for John Boyega. He got the same treatment that Cyborg got with DC. Like, just you just fortunate.
What are you saying with John Boyega?
Like, he came out and said that it wasn't basically racially friendly.
He was saying that he got John Boyega. He wrote a trilogy. He was basically saying that, like, you know, if you're gonna be representative and have people in these different roles, they put him to be in Star Wars, and apparently, you know, he was in the assumption that he was going to have a role in the larger thing,
somewhat on par with Ray.
Right, and they just used him as you know, background coloring. You know, he was, you know, and it was his big issue. He was taking to town about that, which I agree. I think it's a point. It's like, well, how, you know, to be even if he wasn't a black, you know, even if he was a black guy, just the fact that you had this character and you do nothing with him. You did nothing with him. He was just.
To be perfectly fair, that's a criticism for most of these movies. The last set of Star Wars movies, they had a lot of good points, but yeah, they're not good.
I want to like bring it back to Juneteenth for a quick second. I did some.
I do apologize about that, everybody.
No,
sorry.
No worries. I want to bring it back. I did some quick math, like getting Juneteenth off, getting one day off for a holiday. So people in Texas worked and I am a descendant of a Texan. People in Texas worked an extra like 2.5 years. So all those holidays we would have to live 910 some plus years to make up for those 2.5 years to get all them days off of work that we work for free. You got to live them.
That's how you look at it. 'Cause your numbers made me think of something else. How much money as a federal holiday is this costing our economy?
I don't know. Good question. Good question.
Even against my own point, I don't mind playing devil's advocate. This is also, we do find out that number, we'd also have to find out how much money can a day off actually make for our economy. If we're doing all this cost
how does it make money?
Most time holidays are paid, so that doesn't factor in.
Yeah.
Especially for federal employees.
Yep.
But even so, I feel like I can argue this both ways. I'm not sure which way to take it. If everybody's off, that gives them a chance, like, hey, I'm off and I'm free. I'm going to go spend some money on shit, making it an economic boon to have a federal day off. The other side of it is if everyone's not working or enough people are not working, that also costs money. I don't know which one beats the other, if I'm being honest.
I got to figure out how to monetize it, like Valentine's Day and all of that stuff. Go give somebody some hibiscus tea or something like that.
But my argument is I think is that it kind of it kind of boasts the case to say, oh, look, we're doing for you. You know what I mean? If I'm like say you say reparations,
it is that
I'll give you. Yeah. It's kind of look. We gave you
the
day off.
Episode
day off.
Go back and listen to me go on my diatribe in the past. And
dude, I was about to cite you as an example. This is the point you're always making. Please make it again. It's a good time.
Go ahead. I don't know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
One of the things a point ologist is always making is if you look at this from a big enough, far away enough perspective, macro level.
Correct.
They keep trying to do small capitulations to avoid making big actual changes.
Right.
They will feed us crumbs and keep the massive stockpiles of cookies off to themselves.
Right.
This, in a sense, is something small they're doing to say, hey, look, we're doing something when they're doing the barest of minimum.
That's what I'm saying.
They convince you that these are the goalposts and this is what you need to shoot for, and then they don't tell you as time goes along they're moving the goalposts further and further away. You might make gains, but the goalpost is moving away.
The goalpost is moving further away
times faster than the gains that you're making, so you're getting further behind.
Yep.
But you're supposed to be just focus on those gains you're making. See, look,
you got a day off. Go buy some chicken. Go get ice cream.
I don't want to be that cynical. I still think the fact that a holiday like this is good. I just feel like a better argument to make is things could be better, or it's not a substitute for more substantial change.
No. We get the day that we should be celebrating is January 1st, not only as New Year's, because it is New Year's, but that's the day that the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1863. That's the day that all Black people were free in the United States. Whether or not, whether or not people in Texas, they were free. They were free. They didn't.
I need to look this up.
They were exploited. So for me to celebrate the day that they were finally told is to celebrate Black ignorance and white supremacy for and I can't do that.
Yeah, I
can give you one better.
No.
I got a segue.
I will acknowledge the holiday, but I can't celebrate Black ignorance.
The last
I'm saying I'm saying ignorance because they did not know. It wasn't stupidity. Like they didn't know. They weren't told. They weren't informed. And I can't fault anybody for that. But the reason why is because of white supremacy, because they were being exploited. And I'm not celebrating the exploitation of my ancestors.
Yeah.
Not doing it. Not doing it.
Then the goalpost is going to have to move on the other direction because I looked this up a while back.
I celebrate New Year's as Freedom Day. It is what it is. I will not celebrate Juneteenth. Won't do it.
You're not gonna have red drink and red velvet cake and
not at all.
And eat lots of watermelon.
I'll wear my Pan African
colors. I'm gonna have a mayonnaise sandwich with a little hot sauce.
Wow.
So the last slave was actually freed in 1945.
What?
That's what I was. The last slave was actually freed in 1945.
How was he freed? How did that work?
Because it wasn't slavery, it was chattel slavery. One of the rules in the South for many years was if you're just
that was Jim Crow. Chattel slavery was after. It was like feudalism. Like you were tied to the land, and every year because folks couldn't read, folks were illiterate. They would say, "Well, we loaned you these supplies to work the land."
That's what's called. That's
yeah.
I would still call that slavery.
It's a contractual slavery. People say that we are wage. Some people say that we're wage slaves. We work for a wage, but we're still enslaved.
That is
see how you can quit your job.
Sharecropping system.
All I know is the last dude that got freed from prison from that was released in 1945. I would call that effectively slavery, because at one point where they couldn't do slavery legally because it got, it was illegal, they just found different forms of doing it. A point that you are always quick to make is that clause in the 13th Amendment. It's in the is it the 10th or the 13th?
What is it stating?
How slavery is illegal except for in terms of prison. The prison industrial complex.
13th Amendment.
I'm just about to ask you that. Do you think prisoners are slaves that's working for free, building stuff?
To be honest,
of a sort, yeah. I mean, but
I think there's a lot of ethical issues in that setup.
There are a lot of parallels, but I also think that it isn't. You could say the chain gang thing, but nowadays you look at that whole prison industrial complex. It's a weird thing of looking at it. Like how they
what's the incentive? That's
keep people locked up for years and years and years and make money out of them because now a lot of these prison companies are private. So it's not like it's just this is something for public sector. It's just private sector.
There's another problem with it. So, damn, this shit's confusing. If you're in a town that has a prison, the population of people in that prison gets counted towards your census, which can increase the population of your town, district, and area, which can possibly give you another Senate seat.
Does it?
Not Senate seat, the other one. This shit's really confusing. I try to keep it up. But having a larger population allows you to get extra services that you wouldn't get otherwise. So again, what's the incentive? Build a bigger prison. You can... I'm fine with taking some arguments in regards to, say, prison slavery, but the incentives are really fucked up here.
Yeah.
And all the laws they kept passing to just kind of like keep black people, either illiterate to keep them working, the Jim Crow shit, that's really what it is. In the spirit of slavery or neo-slavery. That's the video I found that helped me find all this shit out by a guy called
Slavery Adjacent Policies.
I would still call that slavery because it's all the same people doing all the same shit. And maybe I find this shit a little more interesting because, again, the things I'm the most interested in are what's happened in our more recent history that I haven't heard about 9,000 times. I didn't know chattel slavery was a thing. I didn't know they could just arrest you if you're loitering, or they kept changing the laws and making the laws extra hard to fucking understand when the education down there wasn't never good or set up. hey, you didn't know about this law or this rule? Going to jail. You mean that law y'all just passed on this sign I can't read because there's not really an infrastructure for me to know how to read? Yeah, well, you should have knew the law. How?
Black codes that they enacted after pretty much after Reconstruction, to keep.
Yeah, there was a lot of them.
Their place. Yeah, it's it's a whole thing. You can look at sundown towns.
Sundown towns?
Out of town by the time the sun goes down. Yeah. Towns, yeah, you know about
Can
that?
you go in that one in full detail? What?
Sundown towns are towns in the South, mostly South, where if you were Black, you weren't allowed to be in town at sundown. That's what they're strictly called that. There are quite a few different books and sort of resources to talk about that. Yeah, but that was a real thing. That's
I didn't even know about that one.
You think about the abject when I hear about these things, I just think of the abject fear must be to be a Black person to travel. You wonder why sometimes we get sort of tied into our ignorance, so we don't want to travel, we don't do these things. I understand why. Because doing these things could put you in a place where you didn't know anybody, and you could be in a sundown town and be in the wrong part of town and wound up being snatched up and lynched. And tilled, if you sit the wrong way.
Yeah. To your point,
I understand it. I don't agree with it, but I understand it.
There's something else to your point that I just remembered. Why was the blues always so depressing and tough? Where were these musicians? What time frame? What were the laws they were dealing with? It's just, this is the little bit of extra context to it. Yeah, their situation was a lot more dire and depressing than I ever realized.
Heck yeah. A movie I watched this weekend that was pretty cool. Cadillac Records. We're talking about the blues. It was pretty interesting to talk about that. Cadillac Records. See it. Beyonce playing who was she playing? Oh my God. What was her name that she played? Beyonce in what you call it? I forget what she played. Etta James. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, Etta James. Yeah, man. So this weekend, in addition to being Juneteenth, is also Father's Day weekend. And
I get. Oh God, I guess I'll have to give myself a letter.
So there are a couple points of view, and I know that two of us are fathers and one of us aren't as of yet, and but
in a manner of speak. Honestly, with all the shit I do for my family, I might as well get a fucking card or some shit. I'm not. I won't. But
Father's Day is Mother's Day is such a big holiday. We're supposed to be trying to find out what to do for Father's Day. Usually with my wife and family, they had big things to go for Mother's Day. Like this past Mother's Day, they had this big, huge Mother's Day banquet. They took the mothers out, big buffet. Everybody eats out, and everything's all nice. And you go get dressed up, and it costs you $60, $70. What's called, and it's this huge, big thing for Mother's Day. Great. Father's Day is like, we can take you out.
Here's this towel. Here you go.
Here's a tie. I'm like, man, you get no respect, man. It's just status shit, man.
I gotta be honest. Every Father's Day, I was like, yay, second Mother's Day. Here, Mom. See? I don't think I ever called my dad on Father's Day. I didn't have his number.
Yeah, we get no respect. I tell you, man. It's just sad.
He didn't raise us, so it's not like I did this out of nowhere. Again, I didn't have his number.
Wait till if you become a dad, you'll see how it feels. You get Father's Day and be like Mom gets everything for the kitchen sink and you get a tie.
You know what? I happen to like ties, so
I like them too, but I don't.
I know what you mean. You're probably.
I don't get a million ties. All I need is a couple. That's it. So but it's interesting to see how that Father's Day falls this weekend of Juneteenth and what it means, and it's like
they did it on purpose. Their reasons nefarious.
It's a conspiracy.
We'll have to see why. Yes.
Oh, okay.
We need to have a conspiracy theory episode because I did I mention this in the cast or out of the cast?
Y'all don't believe in conspiracy theories.
You know what though?
I largely don't.
There's this article I was reading about. They talked to this woman who was who believed that Sandy Hook didn't happen, and she would get into this huge arguments where she would this whole conspiracy in regards to Sandy Hook, that she thought that they were crisis actors, they didn't exist. I guess one of the people that lived in her, that she was from Texas, I forget where she was from, and I guess someone from Newtown moved to her town, and she went and had a private investigator at her home and kind of just really harassed the people. It was just amazing how and she still believed it, and I am interested in looking at people who believe in conspiracy theories, because I think if you really watch, if you watch enough of them, like people who believe in QAnon, and there's a few things that are kind of unique about them. Well, not unique, but sort of interesting about them. It's like usually there are people who have these lives that are spiraling out of control.
She would have caught some hands. She would have caught some hands.
Yeah, I know she would have in this case. Because she still believed it. Like, but the thing about it is that a lot of these people who believe these theories, they do so because they have to have something to believe in. Like their lives become out of whack. Like the woman that they're talking about, her husband, he lost his business, he lost her house and everything, and she basically, started going on this rabbit hole of looking at these websites. She was doing house cleaning, and she kind of found about this website, and then she's just bought into a hook, line, and sinker, and then it became the only thing that she believed in. She needed to have sometimes they need to have something to believe in. I think,
Yep. The world has to make sense relative to their understanding,
right? And it's you look a lot of these QAnon people, and it's like they just want something to believe in. It's like it's just I don't know. It's weird.
Come on. I want you to say the S word. Please say it. I want to hear the word.
What?
Sad.
Oh,
it's sad.
It is sad. It is
fucking sad.
It is. It is really sad. I mean, you think about it, to actually believe. Like people actually believe that Sandy Hook and Parkland and
people believe the world is flat.
Flat earthers.
Yeah, I know.
And it's sad because this is the thing I keep finding out with most people. I think a lot of times we like to think of ourselves as being very logical animals. Like if you make a good enough argument, I will change my stance. The truth of the matter is, no, we're not. Or at the very least, you guys can get me to change my stance on a large number of things. There's a limit just on my experiences or my own emotional pain or and stuff. And that's everybody. Anybody if I've really debated with, I've basically kind of realized like they need the world to make sense this way, or that because of the way they've seen things, it's their conclusions.
Yep.
This has been the series with most of my clients and some of the more hardcore conservatives I've ended up talking to. They're more narrative based than fact based.
Yeah.
I want to give you the opposite theory to flat Earth. It's a theory that's floating around in astrophysics and in physics, that space might not be infinite in all directions, that it might be curved in a sphere, that it's curved and it curves back on itself.
You mean like space might be a big globe or something?
Yes. Like it's not empty, that it curves back. If you go far enough, you end up where you started. That's a possibility. I'm willing to accept that more than I would if the Earth is flat. So, but what if we're on a flat Earth and a curved space on a globe? Nah.
But here's my argument. Every time I say someone,
I can start a new conspiracy theory.
Yeah, you go. Start your own cult.
It's only a conspiracy if they try to cover it up.
Spaced. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call our
curved space theory. I like that. Let's work on that.
It is a fun theory. I just don't think it's the criteria of a conspiracy theory. Chances are it's just another way to look at things.
We've been taught that space is infinite, that it goes out in all directions and never ends. Something that's out there and it's a wall, then what's behind the wall? There has to be space behind it. Like that's how it was always framed in my science and physics class.
Yep. Yeah.
I said this. I think this was something else I said.
Well, I see myself on the other side of the wall because it's curved.
I think we should do an episode on conspiracy theories. Just listing the ones and seeing which ones are there. I'd like to just sort of
talk about Willie Lynch.
I don't know if that's
stopped believing that after a while.
You know, I don't know if that's necessarily if that's a theory or if it's just a I don't know. It's
urban,
just
legend.
Urban legend. Yeah, you know, the Willie Lynch letter and all that stuff. It's like, yeah.
I started realizing, like, that it's this stupid fucking pattern. I started realizing the cats who are always saying this shit had this massive victim complex, and they were just finding down these fucking massive ass rabbit holes before Instagram. Before Instagram,
but
you find these stupid as fuck rabbit holes and fall down them.
I saw Tupac at JK's and Danbury getting some Georgia Hots. Yeah, I saw Tupac. Tupac's still alive, man. That's all.
Yeah, because it's what you want to be true. We believe what we want. I hate that shit.
I think
Biggie on the Port Jeff Ferry. I saw Biggie on the Port Jeff Ferry.
I'd like to really try and really investigate some interesting theories, conspiracy theories that are available now. You know, it's interesting how like conspiracy theory has kind of it's I don't say it's
a dirty word now.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Who was the Clinton lawyer? That's who our boy gonna bring about his death.
Who?
The Clinton lawyer in Arkansas that came. That's who our boy bring.
Yeah. No, I would say Ron Brown, but he's another one too.
Oh yeah.
Vince Foster.
Yeah.
Vince Foster. Yeah, I know. As a big theory behind it.
Who was the black political person that died in the plane?
Ron Brown. Yep. So let me see if I can find it.
What happened to B.D. Cooper, the guy that hopped on the plane?
Oh my God, B.D. Cooper.
It was Loki, man. Didn't you see the
That's the only reason I know what that is. That's the
Loki.
only reason I know what that is.
Good Lord.
So Vince Foster was he was a attorney deputy White House counsel for the Clinton administration. He was only there for 6 months. And apparently he had committed suicide. At least that's what the story goes. They committed suicide. And apparently they said that he knew some things about the Clintons apparently or something along those lines. But the if you read the whole story, apparently he was depressed. He had other issues. So but a lot of these conspiracy theories, again, the whole, Pizzagate. Remember Pizzagate?
Yeah.
Talking about like Hillary Clinton was doing all this stuff with the pedophile ring out of a pizzeria out of DC. It's like I really think a lot of conspiracy theorists who deeply believe in them. And I mean, yeah, sometimes there's like this huge iceberg of conspiracy theories where some that are plausible, some that are. I wonder if I can find it somewhere. Yeah,
I don't know if I said this during the cast, but I feel like it's important to reiterate this point. Shit, I already lost my train of thought. Fuck, sorry. I'll blurt it out in the middle of someone else's conversation.
We know.
Sorry.
Let's see if I can find it. I could find one because it's a whole, the whole iceberg thing. It talks about the iceberg, and it has a sort of conspiracy theory iceberg. And so it explains some that are might be true on down to ones that are just totally totally nonsense.
I can't remember. People believe what they want to believe.
I can't find it. I know it's somewhere they have it. Yes,
we're gonna talk about JFK and the magic bullet.
Yeah, that's one. That's another one. That's one. Yeah, here it is.
I actually don't understand that one. Isn't like I don't think Lee Harvey Oswald actually killed him.
I don't think so either. And it kind of is like I kind of agree with it. I hate to say it. I mean, maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid too, but I kind of.
Yeah, no, the magic bullet is based on the trajectory wounds created by the bullet that did all these twists and turns within the body to create these wounds.
There's the other problem of it's the CIA fucking A in the time period when we know for the fact the CIA was doing lots of fuck shit.
Lots. Why do you think they was just doing it that time period? They do it all the time.
I want to show you what the thing I was showing you.
Remember that rant you went on before?
So
nope.
Here's the thing. Can you guys see it now? Here it is.
It's coming up.
Conspiracy theory. So detached from reality, QAnon, the deep state, great replacement. There you go with that.
There you go.
The New World Order. Remember I was talking about the New World Order?
I still find something else.
Is,
why is these ideas so palatable? I think that's the other factor that should start disturbing people.
Illuminati, baby.
Because they make things easy to understand. You know, it's easier.
Remember, guys, everybody's out to get me. Everyone. I'm massively persecuted. They hate me specifically. They hate people like me. Everyone's out to get me.
I like this. I think we should do one. I think you should do one.
How come MK Ultra's at the bottom? Nah.
Biden is a robot.
Should be at the bottom. I thought that was
Biden is a robot. But if you look at it, it basically goes from like to when you said what he said MK Ultra. That's almost true because you notice it starts with
no. There's documents that state
MK Ultra is actually pretty. There's a lot of documentation.
Free Britney.
FBI spied on Martin
Operation Tuskegee.
We know they did that, though. We know about the Tuskegee experiments. We know that one's true.
Yep. Have you ever seen? Do you believe there's another theory that I started watching?
Denver International Airport.
Where's that?
That's true.
Where's that?
Well, we know the UFO.
Leave reality.
Just don't know what the fuck they are.
A government. That's a secret government bunker because of the amount of money that they spent, the time that they spent it. They got murals of like Holocaust in it. Like there's lots of stuff about.
Oh wow!
Google.
Epstein killed himself. Have you ever seen this documentary I started watching about we're living in a simulation? Have you seen that?
I believe that's BS.
It's just amazing the theories that people come up with to believe, yo.
Okay, no, but
I still find the more interesting fact of why do they believe that?
Because it provides you with comfort.
My problem with the simulation, and it's similar to the analogy of what we were talking about with space time. If you get to a wall, if we live in a simulation, that doesn't mean that there isn't a reality because somebody had to program the device to do the simulation, and they got to be in some form of reality.
My thing when they talk,
maybe they don't. Maybe the simulation just always existed. It's kind of comforting to think there's like a start and a stop.
You got to have somebody that created the simulation.
But here's what I think: like, how do you account for like
a simulation is based on something that's already existed.
But how do you account for like cars or accidents or just random shit like school shooters?
Oh, come on!
Is that someone playing a game now?
They bend and budge their knowledge around just to keep that idea going.
That makes sense.
They lie to themselves. They tell half truths. Their narrative does not change. Oh, right. That's what I was going to say.
Something wrong with this order. I don't know how they're going to have in reality denial. They got UFO abductions, but
remember,
UFOs. Like
this is my favorite point. Facts don't move people. Narrative does. Tell them the right story. Make the right emotional appeal. The narrative is what's more important than anything you can say factually.
They should have had Ted Cruz is the Zodiac killer.
Where's that?
He's not. Oh,
pink,
God,
the so pink dumb. Section all the way to the left, bottom left.
Oh wow!
Tupac lives in Serbia.
Tupac lives in Serbia.
He ain't living in no damn Serbia.
I guarantee the only people that think he's
in East Africa. Tupac live in East Africa, but I saw him when he was at JK's.
Stevie Wonder
Tupac lives. That's all I saw at the concert selling Tupac shirts, Biggie shirts, whatever.
Greta Thunberg is
Kylie Jenner is a clone. Okay.
Chemtrails.
Is the chemtrails one legit? I've made fun of that one, but I kind of figured there was a chance that might be true.
I have never really got into that. I don't know what the story is.
What your boy DJ gonna say about the U.S. presidential election was stolen?
I had that conversation with him. I even went over it in excruciating details for hours. I'm like, no, it wasn't. And plus, the remedy you have to this shit is discounting millions of votes. Because he kept pointing at what, Pennsylvania or one of the states in the middle of the country. He kept saying this, and I was like,
"Crisis actor George Floyd." Oh my!
Yeah, I never saw that one.
I wonder what the racist motivation is to believe that one.
Well, it's the same thing with the Sandy Hook.
Jewish space laser.
They're doing it to stir up dissension and to get people sympathy.
Didn't Donald Trump say that? One of the presidential hopefuls said that.
Said what?
That they have space lasers.
Jewish space lasers.
That's
from a politician.
That's Marjorie Taylor
Trump.
Green, yeah. Oh my goodness, that's great. Trans agenda. There you go. That one. I'm like, oh my God.
I still feel like the worst thing about no offense to anyone about the trans stuff. Just someone sit down and explain it. I know you guys are having more of an emotional reaction to wanting to defend marginalized people. That's fine. Everyone doesn't work that way. You need to sit people down and explain the science. It only clicked for me when I took way too much time out of my day to research a lot of this. Everyone's not going to do that.
Man, let me tell you something. I went on it was basically we're doing some cleanup around New Haven, cleaning up with churches. And there's a bunch of churches that get together to do some cleaning up of different schools, whatever. So we go there, and there are a bunch of us, maybe 50 of us in the field. And this is maybe last year sometime. And everybody's wearing a mask and and we're broken down in groups. So it's 50 people, it's 10 groups, 5 people in each group. And the guy that's leading us, he's from a different church. And he's like, no mask on. Everybody's wearing a mask. He has no mask on. He says, don't worry, I'm not wearing a mask, but I've done all the research. And I'm like, the problem is that there's so much information out there is that I can find whatever point of view that anything that confirms what I believe somewhere, And you can say, well, if I just show you the facts, what facts? The facts could be one thing. I could find the facts.
I would ask, are you showing me the peer-reviewed study, or that one fucking scientist, just the one who was a researcher?
Most studies aren't peer. No. Say this is, how can I say this? Different times, different eras. Now we say peer review. So what does peer reviewed mean?
It's reviewed by people in the same field.
Yes, it's reviewed. But when I was younger, it was the research was replicated, and the replicated results were in line with the whatchamacallit. So now we just have a bunch of so-called people look at it that's already in that field and says, yep, this looks good, so it must be true. Yep. Like before, because about, 10, 15 years ago, there was this big thing, and now allegedly people have tried to debunk it, where they actually went through and replicated large research studies in various scientific disciplines, hard scientists, social science, and found out most of the stuff could not be replicated with close to the same results. So then all of a sudden you started hearing this term peer reviewed.
Still seems like a good way to verify information.
I'm
not saying it's perfect. I don't think there is a perfect system for this.
Is it better than looking at the method? Because this is what they used to do. They would read the study. People in the field that were experts would replicate the methodology and see if they came out with similar results. And when they did that across the board from different science disciplines, hard scientists like sciences like physics and things like that, social sciences like psychology and things like that, they found out that we were not getting the same results as the studies that people said were valid. Mm-hmm. And then it switched to stuff just being peer reviewed. Because I don't hear
the analysis of like
studies being replicated and we had similar results. It's always, well, has it been peer reviewed? Has it been peer reviewed? Has it been peer reviewed? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Has the pastors of the different churches said that they believe that's what God said? It's just some equivalency. People are always the weakest. People are always the weakest link in systems.
Good point.
Also, how diverse the sample size is.
No, I mean, people went out and replicated Isaac Newton. You drop something that falls at a certain rate. There's certain places on Earth where gravity is just a little bit different. You get a slightly different result, but pretty much is what Isaac said. That's replicable. That was the standard when I was younger. Could you replicate the study and get similar results? Now it's peer reviewed. Yep. Why? Because they can manipulate people to say what they want them to say and say that this sounds valid.
Okay, you know why I brought this one up, right? What's a thing I was citing? There's this scientist, I forgot what country from. I think he's German. He was a researcher in the 90s, and he came up extremely against all the COVID vaccines. One of my ex-girlfriend, actually my only ex-girlfriend, really. I've had more than one. Point is, she kept trying to say, like, see, look, he's saying they don't trust this. I trust him more than these lobbyists. I'm like, this dude is a lobbyist.
Yeah, I think nowadays, you know what the problem is? Like I was saying with the peer reviewed, that there, you can find, it's like people, you can find enough people who are quacks and what's called to confirm any fact almost. I find that if I'm looking up something and I need to confirm it, I gotta find more, at least find enough evidence in different sources that say the same thing. If it's a study, then you repeat it. But again, if it's some sort of theory or whatever, or a point of view, you need to, or a fact, you want to make sure you can find corroboration of it, not just accept it.
Yeah,
because
you also, but you
references.
You also have to look at the economic piece, and I mean, a lot of folks don't talk about this when it comes to research. The economic piece of research is some research is done by corporations, some research is done by academic institutions. The research that's done by academic institutions is usually funded by corporations. So they fund what they want to fund and they go out and they disregard. And if you find, like, say you're researching the efficacy of a drug and you're at a university and you find out that it's not profitable. Well, they pull the funding that all your research just dies. It'll never see the light of day. Nobody will ever see it. And then they'll go someplace else and then they'll fund somebody else and maybe they'll change the methodology. And all of a sudden this drug is now effective. Like, don't just saying science is not enough. One of my college professors, research it's not
end
your
all be all.
No, it's not your hypothesis and the results. Look at that methodology, and you got to go through the methodology. The methodology has to be sound, and that's how come when they used to do the replicating research to see if it was valid, they got rid of it, because when you do it, you're not getting similar results. Now we just got to go to have people look at it and say they looked at the methodology and say that, yeah, the methodology looks good. We're not going to try it, but it looks good. That's what peer review means. So take peer review with a grain of salt. If you see that the study has been replicated in other places and by other independent folks and they came out with similar results, that's more honest research, in my opinion.
Yeah, it holds more weight.
Yeah.
Word.
So, fellas, I think I'm about to.
Me too.
Pack it in. I'm gonna try and catch the episode of Boys or watch some crazy horror movie or something for it.
Yeah, watch the Boys.
I'm gonna keep staring at my statue for a little bit.
The Boys was interesting. I got upset with them because only Peacemaker can have the musical numbers in the show. They did a little musical number. I was like, no, cut it out. That's only Peacemaker.
Only Peacemaker.
Tina got that trademark.
Aaron, are you want to see that movie this weekend?
I won't be able to because of the time. I'm working third shift Saturday and Sunday.
How about Monday? I'm off till Tuesday. I'm off to Wednesday.
I'm out, fellas.
Monday at that time frame?
Yeah. I'll let you know.
Yeah, text me.
All right, fellas.
I want to be everywhere at once.
All right, man. Peace.